Hi there, my name is Sandra and I work at the Stroke Association. Several years ago I trained as an oral storyteller, and from time to time I still tell stories. As I work for the Stroke Association, I decided to take the 2.6 challenge in order to help to raise some funds. The Stroke Association is doing really great work in these challenging times. People are still having strokes every 5 minutes, and stroke is still an emergency. So I'd like to just do my little part to try and help get a little bit more money in the pot. So I will be telling a story a day for 26 days, just a short one, and I tend to tell stories for grown-ups. It doesn't mean they're unsuitable for younger people, but you should just check before you let any younger people have a look at them to see whether you think they're appropriate. So, welcome to day one. It's Saturday, May the 2nd, and this will be my first story. So do find me on Just Giving and pop a little money in the pot if you like what you see and what you hear, and do pass the link on to people so that they too could contribute. Each day it's going to be a short story. Sometimes there'll be old friends, and sometimes there'll be stories that I've not met before and I will be working with for the very first time. So today is an old friend, but I've not told it for a little while, so I don't quite know how it's going to appear today, but let's give it a go. Let's get started. There was once a man. Well, I've heard this story when it's a man. I've heard this story when it's a woman. It can change. Today it's a man. And this man was really not very happy with his life. There was something missing. Maybe you can understand that. Maybe you know people who felt like that if you don't feel that way yourself. And he knew that he had to go out there somewhere, somehow, to find the answer. And so he set off on his journey around the world. Well, I'd just like to stop a second and just think about that. The time we're living in at the moment, it's hard to remember that there was a time, and there will be a time again, where we could travel, where we could move beyond our own four walls, beyond our own gardens, beyond our own neighbourhoods, where we could get on a train or a boat or a plane and travel to far-flung places. But he was living in a time when this was possible, and so that's what he did. He travelled. He walked across mountain ranges. He trekked across deserts and plains. He went on long train rides. He took boats across the ocean. And he was looking always for the answer. That he just couldn't find. He didn't find it in the mountains. He didn't find it in the clouds. He didn't find it in the oceans. Now he studied with masters of martial arts in the far East. He studied with the shaman in Latin America. He went on journeys to other worlds. But still, he couldn't find the answer. And one day, when he was walking through a forest in India, he was still wondering what the answer could be. He came to a clearing, and everything around him seemed very quiet. He could hear the birds. He could hear the leaves in the trees and the bushes. And just as he was about to turn and move on, he saw something move in the bushes over there. And as he watched, he saw a fox slowly emerging. And as he questioned why it was going so slowly, it became clear the fox was lame. The back legs were no good, and the fox was pulling herself forward using her front legs into the clearing. And at the same time as she got into the clearing, he heard a noise, and he turned his head and saw from the trees to his right a white tiger stalking across the clearing. Well, his heart went. This poor fox, she was not going to stand a chance. And when he looked back, he saw that the tiger had a piece of some sort of bloody meat hanging from its jaws. That's odd, he thought. He watched as the tiger placed the meat down in front of the fox and stand back. And the fox, she ate the offering from the tiger. And the tiger left, and the fox pulled herself back into the bushes. The man was astonished. He could not believe this. It has to have been a fluke, he thought. So he went away, but the very next day he came back at the same time. And, to his astonishment, the same thing happened. Well, he thought, there has to be a lesson in this. Perhaps the answer is in this. And as he stood there, he realized the answer was simply do nothing and wait. And the universe will provide whatever it is that I need, and I need an answer. So he decided to sit down against a tree, which he did, and he sat there waiting. And waiting. Nothing happened. For days, nothing happened. He had no food. He had no water. He was just sitting and waiting for the answer to arrive. Well, after many, many days, when he was just in that place, in that state where he didn't know what was truth, what was reality, and what was not, at that point, he heard the voice. And the voice said, "Why did you choose to behave like the fox when you could have behaved like the tiger?" And there, my friends, this story ends. And I'll leave you with that thought. Until tomorrow, bye now.